Well, hello there, you. It is me, Miro, in case you didn't know, and we have gathered here today to tackle some of the plant chores that I have been postponing. And yes, you heard correctly, some, not all. So down and get your hopes up. Also, all of you here currently present in this room, don't get your hopes up. You're not all going to be taken care of today. Some of you will have to wait because we will just take care of select few. And in March, I did something that I never did before. Well, there are many things that I never did before, but what I'm talking about here is I created a list of plant chores in March that I would like to accomplish in that month, and not just plant chores, but the content I would like to create. And as you all know, I have went on a trip to Sweden, and don't worry, those videos are coming. I have seen the comments. There are like 3 videos about Sweden that you will be forced to watch, and 2 of them are about Hoyas. One of them is just going to be kind of like a vlog thing, but that whole thing aside, I forgot where I actually was. Yeah, I returned from Sweden. I, of course, got sick. I picked something up at the airport, and I didn't actually create a plan for April, and I've been missing it. I actually didn't know that I would miss it. I just kind of tried it out in March, and I thought, maybe I will do this, maybe I won't. And because I didn't do it, now I'm like, I actually think I should do this every month. So maybe in May we can do another video like that, to kind of like sit down and plan out the entire month. I quite like it. I can also do it without your presence, but I know you like to watch. That was creepy, wasn't it? Anyway, we will tackle some of the postponed planned chores. Well, I will tackle them. You don't have to do anything. I can't make you do anything, but don't just sit there and watch. It's kind of creepy. So do something with plants. Chores. Now, while some things in life we can postpone, and it's perfectly fine to do so, there are some other things that we really should not be postponing, and those are putting yourself first, taking care of your well-being, and that certainly includes taking care of your mental health. So I'm very happy to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video, BetterHelp. Taking that first step with therapy can sometimes be very challenging, and BetterHelp makes that less intimidating and easier for a lot of people because it is online and there is less pressure. It is more accessible and affordable, and also it is very flexible because it is online. Join over 4 million people who have used BetterHelp to start living a healthier and happier life. You can click the link in the description or follow betterhelp.com/basieplants. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/basieplants. All you need to do is fill out a few questions and you will be matched with a professional therapist that is right for your needs, usually within 48 hours. BetterHelp has a network of over 30,000 professional therapists, so you can easily find someone who is right for your needs, for your preferences, and who can fit within your schedule. Also, if you remember how I told you that BetterHelp is flexible, that is because it is online, so you can choose to have therapy sessions with video calls, phone calls, or just text messaging. Whatever suits you, whatever best fits within your schedule, whatever is less pressure for you. Also, if for whatever reason you do not vibe with a therapist you get matched with, which is normal and it happens, you can easily switch to a new therapist within the app with a click of a button, so it doesn't have to feel like a breakup. No pressure, no anxiety, nothing. We love it. So if you have clinical mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, if you're struggling in your life, or if you simply want to show up for people in your life as the best version of yourself, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Once again, you can follow the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/basieplants. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/basieplants. By clicking that link, you help support me and my channel, but it is also not good for me. It is also good for you because I got you a 10% off of your first month of BetterHelp, so you can see if online therapy is right for you. Thank you once again, BetterHelp, for being a longtime supporter of this channel, and thank you all for listening. And now we do need to get back to the plant chores, and I am like on my knees. This is not a position if you're 32 years old. Like, your knees cannot take it. I gotta get out of this. Oh my gosh, the actual pain. Well, we have discovered today I'm not the one that can belong on his knees anymore. Not that I ever was, but what am I talking about? All right, we have grabbed a stool here. I just really like this angle because you can see the Araucaria, that I need to get a stand for this, future video problems. You can see the Atabapoense, you can see the cabinets. On top of the cabinets, a bit of the wall. It's like a cute angle. It's one of my good angles. of the room. But anyway, I have selected things that I need to take care of, so postponed things, and I selected things that are doable within a couple of days and that will be kind of interesting. Maybe not all of them are doable. I always do select more things than are actually doable. Lesson never learned, but I just think this can be fun. And also, if you did choose to do some of the chores right now, leave a comment below. I really love to read like what people do during the videos. It doesn't have to be plant related. If you're folding the laundry, washing the dishes, I just like to read that. I don't know, I think it's fun. It helps me know that I don't have to, not that I do this ever, but you know, that I don't have to dress up or anything, because people are not actually watching what I'm doing. They're just listening and someone talking to their ears. But anyways, the chores that I have selected are here on the phone. So taking care of my Hoya microphylla. I first thought I was going to do this for Patreon, but nope, I'm going to do it for the channel. It is a stressful chore. I need to repot it. I don't think it's loving the pumice, or pon actually. I might put it in pumice. I want to make a trellis for it, repot it, and I need to take a cutting for a friend. I was supposed to take a cutting 2 weeks ago and start to root it. I have not yet. I need to do that today. Absolutely last minute. I need to repot some of my philodendrons. I have Yope, I have variegated Green Congo, I have Josebono. I'm probably going to do that tomorrow, to be quite honest with you. And some of my Anthuriums need repotting, or when I say some, I actually mean all. This one particularly doesn't look that great. He can look great, but I just, you know, I have let them grow, and I really need to start to stake their leaves and make them take up less space. A lot of these leaves are also damaged because of irregular watering, so that will go into self-watering. Also, I have totally destroyed this. Oopsie. Wow. I have totally destroyed this forgetii at one point, but now it has a new leaf. And, you know, it's in moss, and it has really, really great roots. Please focus. What are you doing if you're not focusing? Great roots, pure moss, gets dried out, super dry now, needs to go to a self-watering pot. I don't know how we will remove this moss, but we'll see. And it's been standing in this pot for like ages. I just needed to add mix, but I'm going to do that tomorrow. I have a couple of more. And then I have some small Anthuriums, or actually just one, that I also think I will put into my self-watering pot. And the Alocasia, variegated Alocasia odora, but it might not be odora. I need to take photos for my Hoya sale. I mentioned that I have some of the Hoya cuttings rooted. They have started to grow, so I need to update the photos, and I need to reply to a couple of messages in relation to that. I have some people asking to buy Hoyas. And I didn't put it here, but I do have my Hoya seedlings from my flagellata. I need to separate those. I think I have like 16 in the pot, absolutely need to be separated. So we will actually today do Hoyas microphylla, my Hoya flagellata. I will try to take Hoya cuttings for sale, reply to the messages in relation to the sale, and take Hoya photos. I have Hoya Carmelle in bloom, so if I do take a good photo, I will insert it in this video, but I also recorded like Hoya of the week video, so there will be like a spotlight on that. So I think that's enough for today, and then tomorrow it can be like an all aroid day. And I also need to edit a video somewhere in between. Oh my gosh, did I say this was realistic? Was it? Was it really? I don't think so. Okay, so first we will deal with Hoya flagellata seedlings. I wanted to show you the mother plant first here. She has done quite well in my Radsta cabinet. She does need a trim. There are some dry vines here. Generally, she needs a retrellising and a repot. I don't love that she is in pon and she's in a self-watering pot. You know, she's doing okay. I see some roots towards the bottom, but as I told you, I do have some pon issues. I don't know if this one will show. There is like, yeah, you can kind of see here the deposit here from lava rock that is sort of muddy. So we will need to repot this to, I think, to an organic mix at one point. I will probably retrellis her, not today, but she has given me a lot of new growth. Some that is interesting, like these leaves here. Some have not had space to grow, like this one, and it always kind of stayed bent because it's up against the cabinet. But there is also new growth here towards the top, which looks quite nice, I would say. Let's just get that to focus, please. So she is doing well. Now my seedlings are from this plant. There was a seed pot when this was in my grow tent. And for the longest time, I didn't really know if I got across or not, because right next to it, I did have a Hoya nicholsonia in bloom. And obviously I didn't do any pollinating. It was an accident. So probably some insect, maybe a fungus gnat, I don't really know, in my grow tent. But I did get a seed pot and I mistreated my seedlings really, really badly. Actually quite shocking. They are alive. They are over a year old now, I think, and they don't look very big. I'm going to just say that in the beginning. They could have looked bigger by now, but the issue is I didn't know much about seedlings, so I did make a mistake with them. I put them in cocoa peat and perlite, which is a good mix for seedlings. It's half and half, but I did not fertilize them. For the longest time, I did not fertilize them and they didn't grow, and I just couldn't figure out it's because there is no fertilizer. In my head, I was like, these are seedlings, they don't need much food, but that doesn't mean they don't need any food. There is obviously some food stored in the seed itself, right? But as soon as they put out those first leaves, they will actually need some food. So if you do have seedlings, make sure that you feed them pretty much right away. You can put slow release fertilizer. I do have a couple of seed pods. I have a seed pod on my Hoya Weliki subspecies tenebrosa, which I will show you. So this plant doesn't look particularly well. She does have mealybugs. I do want to restart her and I need to treat her again. I did treat her before my trip, but clearly it hasn't helped. I did notice some, but she does have a seed pod here and we are waiting for those seeds to come up. I think it's just Hoya Weliki subspecies tenebrosa. I don't think, even though Elixillus was in bloom next to it, I think this is like a self-pollinated thing. I'm quite actually sad to see now there are mealybugs, so I'm not going to touch it too much, even though my seedlings also did have mealybugs. So we're actually going to take a look at them now. That's the reason why I showed you flagellata first, because I didn't want to show you later and introduce mealybugs to it. These are my seedlings. As you can see, there are plenty of them, and I might need to adjust the angle a little bit so you're kind of closer because they're still small. I think there are about 15 at least here, and some of them in the beginning did have variegated leaves. Maybe we will see them towards the bottom. Some of them don't, and there is some variation. You can see some leaves are lighter than others, and there is particular one here that I noticed that does look different. I can't spot it right now. Yeah, this one. You can kind of see here, maybe I do need to bring you a bit closer, but this one has some interesting veining. Here they are a little bit closer, and where is that leaf that I was showing you? It's right here. So I don't know if you can actually see because I don't see really much on my laptop screen, but that does have some nervature there, and that's not a typical flagellata look. I think we will have a better insight into what is happening here as I start to divide them. So they haven't grown a lot in a year. They definitely could have been much larger plants, but considering how dead they looked last year, I'm actually quite happy that we do have something. They're actually growing quite fast now. They're getting regular feed and they are in self-watering pot. Now, what does concern me a bit is I don't have small self-watering pots. Especially not 16 of them. So we will just grow them in little cups and hopefully they're still gonna continue to do well. So I think I'm just gonna remove my watch here. Oh, by the way, we have this one in bloom. I think I'm gonna make a video on it. It's species Garut or affinity amicabilis. You don't see that, do you? So cute. Let's start to kind of somehow get these out. Usually what I would do is I would just tip this out, but because they're small still, I'm just going to try to release this. Another thing is this is quite moist still, so we'll see if that is going to help us or not. I'm just going to move a little bit here. And, you know, if you were hoping for me to tell you more about pollinating the seedlings, I actually don't know. I mean, I know how it works in theory, but, and I've tried it only once, to be quite honest with you. I haven't tried many times. Oh, here we are. They're coming out. I don't want to put the gloves on because they do reduce the sensitivity in my hands, and I want all the possible sensitivity when I'm handling with these. So I'm going to be very gentle here and sort of massage the root ball. It is definitely like a one root ball, and I'm going to try not to damage the roots. I don't think they should be too difficult to separate, but you know, you never know. And they did have quite a lot of mealybugs the other day. I was so angry. I don't know why we're having all these mealybug issues, but we are. So I think I see a couple. I think I need a more serious treatment. This will also be a good opportunity for me to kind of clean them off. But yeah, I just am not really happy about the mealybug thing happening right now. I mean, no one should be. So I'm sort of going around in circle here and gently just squeezing the sides. They look actually quite pretty, the seedlings. I already have like a favorite one, but we'll see. We'll count how many we have. I don't even know if all of them survived, to be honest. I think there were around 15 or 16, but I also could be wrong. Definitely more than 10. So this one is quite interesting. It is the smallest one, the one that I showed you with the leaves. I'm trying to kind of take it out. Oh my gosh, guys, these have very sensitive roots. The roots are sensitive, and some of them are actually still very small. And you know, I'm going to try to keep them as long as I can because, you know, you just never know. Silver Dollar was not the most vigorous seedling, for example, Hoya Silver Dollar, and it took quite a long time for it to take off, and now, you know, it's a plant that is a cultivar. So you just never really know. And maybe the most vigorous ones will be the least interesting ones. Okay. These are actually two of them. So these are the smallest. You can kind of see now how different this is. Once again, please focus. So that is a very unflagellata leaf. The root system is good. So I'm just gonna put it towards the side. This one you don't see much of characteristic. Again, small root system. This one is small. More ordinary looking leaf here. So that one is not much. But now let's look at some of the bigger ones. Okay. Trying to separate them into bigger chunks so we can make them smaller from here. Oh, you see, this one is the one that had variegated leaves. I'm going to show this to you now. Okay, this one is slightly bigger than the ones that you have just seen. I mean, this one is actually quite big. I think depending on the size, I might make several mixes. I think the bigger ones can go in like a normal adult mix. This one again, pretty standard, what you would expect from flagellata. So this one is slightly bigger. Very nice root system. So that's seedling number 3. This one, you see this? That was a variegated leaf here. And I got really hopeful. You can actually almost see the variegation in the stem too. It's not one color. It might not show up on camera because it's so small, but it just grew out of it. Not even a hint of variegation. We will see as they continue to grow. They can still surprise you. Um, the lady who is currently the chairwoman of Swedish Hoya Society, I call her Asa. Her name is Ossa because it's the Swedish A with the circle above it. She told me sometimes even 2 years later, you can start to see variation. And I think it's possible also that some of these will produce like a vine that is different. So you never really know. You never really know. And you see how those leaves are yellow at the bottom? That's how they all looked at one point. So I really mistreated them, but that's kind of an interesting leaf. And then this one is quite big. Very nice. Very typical flagellata, I would say. Interesting pink on the back there. Very, very nice. Very robust. Quite a strong child, I would say, this one. Very nice root system. So I think this one can be treated. I mean, this is like, if you got a cutting, it would be smaller than this. Oh, this one kind of separated itself. This is the seventh one. Also, nice root system. Slightly narrower leaves on this one. Very, very pale and red new growth that sort of turns to this. Interesting. It's interesting they're in the same pot under the same conditions. And even in this one, you can see some light veining. So we'll see. They can also present differences in the blooms. So definitely worth waiting. And then how you would do, what you would do from this stage, right? So you grow these out. And then if you decide, well, if there are rules, right? There are criteria when you can name something a new cultivar, so it needs to present a difference, and whether it's the shape of the flower, color, the leaves, there has to be something unique and distinct about it. And I haven't ever saw flagellata seedlings, so I do think this is quite a unique situation. We did lost a baby leaf here, or we did lose. But if they present to be unique, then you can name a cultivar, and then you would select however many you find unique within your batch. This one has small leaves, but it's not actually so small, so it's interesting to see. So you would select one or several, again depending, and then from that point on, bit of a root system there. I'm actually surprised that this is the thing that we lost. I'm sorry for getting distracted so much, but from that point on, you would have to propagate them via the cuttings, right? So you have to grow it out and propagate via cuttings. It's so interesting to see how different they are from one another within the same conditions. This one does have damaged leaves. Someone was touching the leaves and scratched them. Wonder who that could have been. What idiot did it? Once again, you can see in this one slightly paler than the rest, but it doesn't look like nutritional deficiency. Who knows what we will get? Maybe Hoya flagellata ghost? It's so sad to see that the mealybugs attacked them so early on. Truly is like they're not going to have an easy life from the start. I really do hope, because I already have a name. I already know what I would name this. I have several names. I'm not going to say now, but if it turns out that some of these are worthy, which would be amazing, then I will name them. Okay, let's keep separating. We could have been gentler with that batch, but also it is what it is. At this point, like, they're so intertwined that I mean, this probably should have been done sooner. And also, it wouldn't be bad if I potted them separately. You have those planters for seedlings, but, You usually don't think of everything when you're doing something for the first time, so you're bound to make a mistake. This one is also one of the bigger ones. I, again, don't see variegation, but I do see some interesting veining. Another one. Oh my gosh, I want to keep them all. So much about the selection, right? Did I show you this one? I didn't think so. They're so cute. Yeah, this one also you can see some of the interesting veining. Now that I have separated them, I definitely see more. That's actually a good example of the... I'll have to take a look at my flagellata, but I just don't think that it presents itself like this. Okay, so we do have 16, so I think all of them made it. Now what I will do is I will wash my hands and then I will grab some slow release fertilizer that I have to put in the new mix. We didn't lose many of the roots. The smallest ones, I think I will put them in cocoa peat and perlite. The larger ones, like this one really stands out. This is a chunky one. That one will go in like a more barky mix. We are ready for the next stage of the seedlings. They're all going to go into these small cups. I have 16 of them here. As for the mixes, I do have something like this. That's a perlite, cocoa peat, a bit of moss, and I think a bit of bark too. So I think I will do that for the smaller ones. Now for the larger ones, I might just do something different. Let me see. I don't have much of this bark here. Yeah, it seems that I'm not super well equipped with the mixes here. So let me just make a batch. So this is bark and pomace. It's small pomace. This is small bark and smaller pomace. And I think what I will do with some of the larger ones, I will do that and moss. And then I have some moss that has been pre-moistened. And I will just make sure that I have squeezed out all the extra water from that and kind of make it fluffy here on the side. I don't know if I actually have enough mix for all the 16, and slightly worrying because I don't now know where I will put my Hoya microphylla. What kind of a mix will that be? So, interesting developments. I should have ordered mix a long time ago, but I haven't. So, let's immediately select here the larger ones. This is actually kind of small already for this. Let's give it a go, let's give it a go. For anyone questioning this, I actually don't know what I'm doing, so whether you should follow this, I mean, it's completely up to you. It's an experiment, and hopefully it's an experiment that ends well, but who can tell at this point? I might even make a tiny trellis for some of these. I will see how much of the cute trellis wire I have. So this is essentially what we will do. I have not removed that old mix. Oh, I forgot to actually do what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do is instantly put slow release fertilizer. I don't know the brand. I got this from a lady who is from Vietnam, and I'm just going to put the balls here. 4 or 5 of these balls of the slow release fertilizer, and then cover it a bit with moss. Rotting is not an issue, but we might struggle with watering. Yeah, I think this one will need a trellis because it kind of looks like that, just like a small hoop. Okay, so once again, a bit of moss on the bottom, a bit of this mix, the Hoya, the mix, gently shake, and then some moss on top. to kind of keep that moisture a bit. And then I will give them a water after this. Let's see, who do we think should be next? Okay, let's kind of, because I have 6 more that I would like to put in this mix. Let's kind of distribute that so I know I have enough. And then, please, Miro, make an order of the mixes. The thing is, I do have other type of bark, but I might need to sterilize that. I think it's like, I think I found some fungus gnats, even though it's a new batch of bark. A bit of moss. This is what I grow some of my larger Hoyas in, and they quite like it. So hopefully these are going to like it too. It's all about establishing that root system, and shouldn't be too much of a problem because the roots are quite good from what I can tell. Yeah, these really all would benefit from some type of support or staking, so I'll see what I'm going to do with that. I'm literally scraping all the moss that I can find on this plate. Okay, we have now this 4 smallest ones, which somehow turned into 5. Okay, here's the 5th one. Somehow turned into 5. So they're quite small. So for those, I will do mix that has cocoa peat in it. It's still chunky, but it has cocoa peat in it. That one is definitely the smallest one. Oh my gosh. It's super tiny. Okay, so I'm going to spray them with distilled water to kind of clean up the leaves, give them a light watering, and then put them all just to join them in this box. But I'm gonna do that off camera. Okay, so right now we are recording with my macro lens. Can't believe I'm actually using a macro lens for this, but this is my Hoya microphylla. And you can see some yellow leaves there, some burning from too much light there. And then I don't actually know, some of these leaves have been yellow for a while, but I need to repot this today. It is in pond. There are some roots here, but also some have died back. You can see here, like the residue. So I will gently unpot her, and that wasn't gentle at all. Okay, not great. I will try to gently unpot her and then see if I can take a cutting. My friend would like a cutting of this plant and essentially put her on a trellis. And I think we will select a different pot. Now then, let's just tip her out very slowly here. Trying to be as gentle as possible and to not actually pull on anything. And sort of supporting her. All right. So, yeah. So there are all the roots here. I will just show you what we are working with right now. So not much is happening. She did fall out of the pot several times, which is not ideal. Can't believe how small she is. She grows much faster on a trellis, I hear, so we will be trying to give her that and to sort of get more of this root system into the pot. I'm not going to be removing a lot of this, or if any at all. I don't see any issues. I did bring it closer to me. I don't see any issues here. See, we did already damage one. These are some dead roots towards the top, so I will trim that, and they are dead because, you know, those were potted, and then you don't actually see me trimming them. Those were potted, and then I dropped the plant. So I'm essentially going to try to root that part again. Well, that's not great, is it? Yeah, that's, well, okay, so we don't have any roots anymore on this plant. That is amazing. Not ideal. Expected, but not ideal. I actually, well, you know, this part was very dry. Probably the reason why this plant hasn't been growing much is because she just wasn't having many roots to work with. So I'm just going to select a part of the plant. Maybe this is a good thing. You know, my mom always likes to say, who knows why this is good? So I was actually hoping to sort of divide the plant and give my friend a cutting with some roots, but it appears that's not going to be happening. Instead, what I will do is I will root part of this for myself in moss. I don't think she prefers to be in the pond. I will trim some of the yellowing parts. Trim everything that kind of looks nasty to me. I did expect that from the weight of the pond that she will essentially fall apart or that the roots will fall off. That's why I was trying to be gentle. I will have to review the footage. Maybe it did cut off the root, but I don't think so. I don't think that I actually trimmed off the roots. I am trying to look for a part of the plant that, oh, wow, okay, that looks big enough. So I do think I will cut off this part here, this section here for my friend, which, you know, it's not a small cutting considering it is microphylla, and then I will leave, obviously, for me, this part. So that's one part. I do think I will divide this into several cuttings so I can have more of them rooted, which, if you ask me, is a good thing to do. It is nerve-wracking, of course, but let's just chop it up here. So 1, 2, sorry, you don't see really well, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 segments. So I will clean this off, rehydrate moss, and essentially pot the, oh my gosh, they're so tiny. They're so tiny. Good luck to me. All right, so, excuse you. All right, so it is day 2 of the plant chores, and I do have to tell you the plants have drastically changed. I don't think I will have enough potting mix to repot all of the plants. I will start with 3 of the small ones with my green Congo variegated, which I will sort of divide here if my camera would focus on it. There are a lot of plants inside, obviously tissue cultured, and I will try to separate them into several plantlets. I think they will grow better. It has not grown at all, I think, since I got it. And, part of that is due to watering because this mix just dries out in a day. Like, I will absolutely soak it in the shower and it will be heavy, the pot, and like next day it's super dry. I don't know what kind of mix this is. It's like, I see it's peat. I see there is some bark perlite, but it gets super dry. Same with this Anthurium. I watered it before my trip to Sweden and it had like a couple of more baby leaves and they have just left us. So same thing, like I water it and it gets super dry. This was watered, today is Wednesday. It was watered, I think, on Sunday, completely bone dry, like it never received water. And this alocasia has been doing actually pretty well. It made 1 new leaf. I think this is alocasia odorabatic, or that's what I got it as. Still not the prettiest here, but better than when it arrived. It looked really rough, and some of the old leaves have died and some of them got crispy, but honestly, like, the state in which this plant arrived has been awful, so I'm not surprised. My crystallinum silver blush and my forgetii, I will try to repot those. And I wanted to do my hosebono and I wanted to do my yope and tortum. I don't think I'm gonna have enough mix for those because whoever is in charge of the mixes, which probably is me, thought there were a lot more to work with. This is all the bark that I have. And that ain't a lot of bark. I thought I had like 4 times more. I do not. And also, like, I thought to mix it with cocoa husk. And you know that, you kind of need to buffer cocoa husk. And then I have this crystallinum silver blush. It looks a bit rough. It did have mites. I don't see any present here. This leaf will leave us, which is fine, but you can see that this was like the previous leaf and then we got a very small one. It needs to be fed. It needs to just be taken care of a lot better. I will put it in this self-watering pot, which is not actually a very big difference. You can see here. I just watered it so I can remove some of the old mix. It essentially will be adding just a bit of the mix. But I am going to kind of shift the camera a little bit so you can see a bit better what I'm doing with the plants. I think we're going to start with the philodendron, and alocasia and this Anthurium will also go into self-watering pots. I don't have any smaller than this. This is a 9 centimeter. This is also 9. I don't think it makes sense to go from 9 to 10, maybe from 9 to 11, but we don't have that. We have 12, and it is larger, but alocasias also tend to grow fast. So if we kind of take a look, it's actually not that much bigger. It does look scary, especially when you put the reservoir. It looks terrifyingly big, but it's actually not. They tend to grow in quite fast, and with a good mix, I don't think it will be an issue. With this, I will sort of see if there's like a larger section of the plant that I can grow in a self-watering pot, but I think we will most likely divide this and put it in small cups and then probably save some for trade/propagation. We will see. I will change the camera angle here and start working on the plants. Okay, let's move these 2 out of the way so they can wait for later. And let's start with this philodendron. This was, it was an impulsive purchase, I'm gonna tell you. Clearly, it was. In the midst of downsizing, we decided we do need another aroid. I don't know how to approach this, so best to just go right in. This is cocoa fiber. I see that much. Cocoa husk too. Cocoa peat. So the root system looks okay. And I actually don't even know. I may not even be able to separate these. I don't know. I think this is some moss as well here. Again, I'm just gonna gently massage the root ball so these chunks of the mix, it's so dry. I can't believe that I heavily watered this. I'm not joking because these are new. I tend to take care of new plants more than the old ones because, like, it's a new toy. And I've been really making sure to stay on top of watering for these, but clearly wasn't enough. This, I may not be able to separate this. We'll see. It seems to me they're really, really tightly packed. And I'm not going to force anything because I don't really need to separate them, but I do believe that they will grow better. It kind of is easier when you can get inside here from the bottom and just move your finger around, and then it starts to kind of untangle. It's the technique. There was this chunk here. I really hate these when there are like these chunks in the mix because the roots grow in them and like then you cannot really separate them. It like looks like not properly hydrated chunk of cocoa peat. That's what they look like to me. Oh my gosh, how many growth points can one plant have? And I do know that I can definitely, like, if I really, really wanted to, I can definitely separate this. I've worked with plants that were more complicated than that, but I kind of don't wanna. I really want this to be relaxing for me. I don't want to be stressed out at all. Like, the amount of stress that I accept today is 0. So I don't really want to be doing that. But also, I often say in the videos that I'm not going to do something and that I do it. And I often say that I will do something in my videos and I don't do it, like water. And with these chunks that kind of stick to the roots, you just have to take it slow and kind of squeeze them a bit and they will eventually fall apart. So we're definitely getting someplace. Okay, so far nothing is coming apart. I did expect them to sort of come apart a bit as I took it out of the pot. That's not happening yet. They're really tightly clumped together here. And I'm trying to get as close to the plant as possible so I can see which part has which roots, if that makes sense. The reason why I bought this plant is because I saw some very, very nice photos of it on the internet, but they looked like this looks more splashy. It has more of the Jose Bono vibe. And I know this plant has a different growth pattern. It's a self-heading philodendron, but the plants that I have seen were more like this, kind of half moon leaves, even though I don't dislike the term. And I was really hoping that my plant will look like that, but it does not. This is more splashy, but that's fine. Also, you never know. Something might come of this and it might look even more interesting. The root system is okay. It's not the most amazing root system, but it's okay. Seen better, seen worse. Look at this. This came apart by itself. It's a tiny, tiny plant. I am going to throw this away because, we're not going to be saving that. Another one came apart by itself. I don't know, do I keep this? Look at that. That's ridiculous. I might actually try to put that. It has a tiny root. Okay, I'll try something with that one. But the other one is also completely yellow, so you can just see that they grow on top of one another here. So I'm trying to see who is the main plant. Okay, this is coming apart. We did separate this one chunk. Okay, let's work on this. Once again, we have several plants. They really be growing on top of one another there. It really is a mess. This is like 5, 6 plants at least. Okay, I'm gonna leave that aside for a moment because I'm not quite sure what to do. It does look like this ain't gonna be relaxing. as much as I hoped. Once again, so many plants growing on top of one another. Yeah, I'm trying to separate this one here, but I do think at this point we might need to even use a scalpel to separate this. Okay, it sort of has roots. It sort of does have roots, so I separated that one. You can see here how slightly unnatural this is. Look at that. Can you see all of those growth points there? It's not something that you would actually get with this plant. I did have like a regular green Congo, and it don't be looking like that. Or maybe that plant was already separated. This clearly was, I think this was supposed to be separated and they probably gave up. They probably gave up. And they decided to sell them off. I really think they would have a better chance if we did that. If I sort of got in there, I can do something with scissors too. I mean, even this is just like so much of the growth. I also totally could be killing this. You never know. There's so many propagations here, I can start a green Congo nursery. Sort of left with this on one side. And then here we have two. I think I'm just gonna leave these two together. So far we have, and these can be definitely, like this can be divided. This can be divided into several. So we'll try to save this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 already. I love how I said I was not going to do this, and here we are. That was not the best separation, but yeah, we'll see. That was actually quite bad separation. We do have some all yellow ones. I'm just going to remove all the yellow ones. I don't think we need, like this is fully yellow, like the other one. I just don't think we want to leave those. And then you sort of see here, we can also make another cutting and have this chunk, which I do think I will do. So I'm gonna try to somehow get in between. I don't know what's the best way to show you here. That's where I want to get into. You may not see the next part really well because honestly, I'm just gonna make sure that I see what I'm doing. Propagating Hoyas is easier. Also, I don't need all these plants. What is happening? Oh my gosh, here we are. Okay, I feel better about that. So we have plenty. Are we gonna lose this leaf? I think so. I think we're gonna lose this leaf. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot of this plant. We do need to let them sort of heal. So these parts with the roots, maybe this one will go into the prop box. These two are not. This, I think, because I would like to get more roots. This also, yeah, for a while. These are going to take much longer, but also I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue. And then these, who knows if they will live. I will just put them together. I think we have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 parts that can really make it. And could I keep going? Probably. This is also like still another growth point here and more. So we'll see. I'll keep you updated how this does. Let's get the alocasia out. Alocasia has several plants inside as well. We're not going to separate them. I'm just going to clean off the roots. I'm done with separating. That was a traumatic experience. Okay, this doesn't have actually a massive root system, so maybe I don't put it in that self-watering pot. I don't know. Oh, you know what? I really shouldn't be... I should be focusing because I forgot totally that alocasias do corms. And I'm just like shaking all of this here. So let's just pay attention. If a corm comes, Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do the big pot for this, which probably means that I will repot it in a couple of months again when the roots grow. We do have a corm here. I'm just gonna leave it. I don't want to separate the corm yet. Okay, it's an okay root system. And then let's do the Anthurium. Ooh, who's a chunky root? Who's a chunky root? I think I have changed my mind. I think I'm gonna put all of these into cups. Love it. Love it when I'm so indecisive. I actually may not have cups of the right size either. I think I'm thinking of cups that I spent. Yeah, I think this is still a bit too undeveloped, so I don't think it's okay to put it into this. It's just not a lot of root. Let's go look for pots. I shall be back and then pot these. So I'm back and we have located 2 clear pots. Now for the Anthurium, I do still have a bit of this higher quality bark mixed with pumice. So we'll try to use some of that. And then I do have moss from yesterday. So let's just begin with that. Just separate these clumps. Actually don't have a lot of this mix. It's actually very dusty, so I'm probably gonna use that in the mix, in a different kind of a mix. I'm just gonna use this bark here. Put the plant in there. Add some pumice as we go. Bit of more bark. Add some more moss. Do we even see? I'm not really going for a homogeneous mix either. This is sort of the mix that I use for orchids. And I tried it once in Anthuriums and it works great. So why the heck not? Keep using it. Okay. This is very chaotic, someone might say, and that person is right. Okay, now we'll finish off with like a layer of fertilizer. Fertilizer, where is it? Let's do a bit of slow release. Okie dokie. And then moss on top. Just like to keep that moisture in. Probably should have potted him a bit deeper, but here we are. It will still need a lot of watering, so hopefully the roots can grow fast and then we can transfer it to a self-watering pot. So for the alocasia, I will make a mix here. Yes, I have cocoa peat and perlite, and I will use like the same mix for the philodendrons, so might as well make a bit more. I'm actually going to dump out this bark and pumice. And then I also have more of the bark. These are really leftovers, but you know, they can go in. Some leftover vermiculite. Really is everything. And then there was one more leftover mix that I had. Here we go. This has bark, cocoa peat, and cocoa husk. Let's mix, see what we have got, and then adjust. Does anyone else do this? It's like I make so many mixes on the side, and yeah, there comes a time when you must join them. This is a good mix, I would say. Quite airy. We have to remember these are not Hoyas, so let's not overdo it, Miro. But at the same time, let's add a bit of cocoa husk, just for the lulz. Like not a lot, just a handful. Like boop, 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 a bit. Okay. And then we will stop. Okay, Miro, we stop now. We don't overdo it. Once again, this is not a Hoya. Alocasias are not epiphytic. All right, so this mix to me looks pretty decent. And because I know how much I don't water, I think it will be fine. Let's just add it here. Plop the plant in. And this time we shall not forget the slow release, Miro. Probably add it now. That looks like a good mix to me. I'm happy with that. Now girl can grow. I need to bring you again a little bit closer somehow. That may or may not be better. Let's put the philodendrons with the roots in this. Yeah, this one doesn't have a lot of roots, obviously, but you know, we all hope and pray for him. You know, because I did cut this, I'm actually gonna leave it a little bit longer. I think that's the best. These are from the base, so... Oh wow, well. I don't know, I actually kind of want to go with smaller pot for this. Is this too small? I think not. I think we can go for that. I just want to make sure that the roots really grow in, you know? And then it's fine if we have to upsize it. It's a bit more slow release than one requires. Totally not centered. Such is life. Sometimes you're centered, sometimes you're not. Okay, I do not like that. It is absolutely uncentered. Gosh, what am I doing? It's gonna bother me. It's gonna bother me, you know it. Okay. It did take us like 3 tries, but I'm happier with that. I do want to add a bit more, actually, bark to this. Not a lot, just a bit more. Oh, we have a small one. I forgot about you. He's gonna get one with drainage. Once again, what is happening? Why am I keep adding bark. I'm so used to the Hoya mix that whenever I don't use a Hoya mix, I just go cuckoo on the bark and stuff. Very little slow release for this. Oh, this is the cutest one. I love this the most. That's actually the cutest one. I don't care. I'm keeping that, selling the rest. Don't need anything else. I need just that. Okay, I think the ones that have been sort of healing from the trauma of me separating them have healed enough. So I need 4, 5 pots. I'm gonna put 2 in 1 pot. Actually can do more than 2, but you know, this is my decision. Where is the moss? I'm just gonna sort of fill these cups and stick them in. I'm not going to press too much into the pot, if that makes sense. Kind of keep it fluffy because these are gonna go into the prop box, so you really want to keep that moss loose. I see some people add perlite. To me, it doesn't really make much sense. I don't know. You can do whatever you want, of course, but you know, I just don't press it in. I just don't press it in. Make sure it's very fluffy, very loose, and you know, prop box will do the rest. You can sort of see like how I can shake it. It kind of moves all throughout the pot. And I'm gonna add like very, very little of the fertilizer in each. This is what I used to do when I propagated philodendrons. I used to propagate quite a lot of them, and they really enjoyed this. So let's hope philodendrons did not change in the past couple of years. I mean, I have propagated them recently too. Oh, this is also kind of cute. You know what? I'm realizing small plants are cute, big plants are not so cute. This is also cute. Best variegation on that one. Do I keep them all? Should I keep them all? And we are out of moss. I don't have any hope for these, to be quite honest, especially because I keep throwing them around. But I'm just gonna put these in here. I have like 2 of them. Maybe they will make it, maybe they won't. I don't think they would have grown much if I left them intact either, because this is just a crazy number of plant parts. Do I want to do moss with this one too until it grows roots? I don't think so. I think I want to do a mix, a regular mix. I will put a little bit of moss on top with this one. Well, actually I won't because I don't have it. Never mind. What I used to do is I used to put moss on top as well to kind of keep the moisture in, especially, you know, because I wouldn't really water them that much. I would just water very lightly, and then they would go into the prop box, and then they would first start to root into moss and then grow towards the bottom of the pot. Oops, forgot the fertilizer. Darn it, Miro. Darn it. Thankfully, we don't have many roots, so we can work it in with the scissors. All the tricks on basie plants. That one is also kind of cute. I don't understand how the camera works. Here we go. It's kind of cute. I will now clean up a bit here, and then I will sort of come back to this when I have prepared a bit more moss. And I think we're just going to do 2 Anthuriums, and then that's going to be it for today. The other philodendrons I'm just not going to be able to do today because I still have like a video to edit to finish for Hoya of the week, and you know, there's no time. So we have my Anthurium forgetii here, and I'm going to repot that. Oh my gosh, that leaf is gorgeous. I'm going to take care of this plant, I promise. It is amazing. I honestly love these plain Anthuriums more than some of the, you know, the more expensive rare ones. So we're gonna release him from the moss, and we do have some roots here on the bottom that have dried out. So I'm just gonna cut those and make it a little bit easier. There's nothing to save there. Also, this plant just has plenty of roots, so I don't think we have to worry about anything. The only thing we do need to worry about is getting rid of all the moss. A lot of people have done videos on how to kind of get rid of the moss, and they're all correct. It's honestly just a tedious process, and I should not have let it go this far. But here we are, here we are. So I'm just, you know, squeezing the pot to kind of help him. Sometimes the roots get stuck. Okay, well, that's, okay. Well, see you in 5 to 6 hours when I remove all of this. That is just insane. I don't know where I will begin with this. I guess, you know, just go slowly and sort of massage the moss a bit. Only advice that anyone can give you is to go slowly, try not to damage too many of the roots. You know, in this case, if you do damage some, it's not the end of the world because, once again, plenty of root to go around, as we can see. And squeezing the root ball, I don't think helps here because you can break off the roots of these Anthuriums. So, you know, just be patient. Also, you can just cut it here. You can just cut it here, root it, and make the base push out one new growth again. Doesn't really solve your problem, but hey. Yeah, I'm gonna put a podcast on. Sorry. All right, that took exactly 1 hour. So that's crazy. Actually a bit more than 1 hour, but we did lose towards the end quite a bit of roots. I, you know, couldn't do better. It's not, you will see, it's not too bad because of how many we haven't. Well, from my experience, some of these will also die back because they're very fragile, but this is one part. I did not even know this was in there, so I think it was just potted way too deep. So what I will do is maybe I will put it in the same pot and just let it grow out. But this is the plant, and you know, quite a lot of roots here. Quite a lot of roots. I think it's time to sort of pot it. I did want to trim some of them that are like hair-like, like that. But honestly, it's a root mess, and I've been doing this for over an hour at this point. And I know that some of them, again, will die back a bit. That I just don't think there is much point in me going meticulously over all these roots and finding, you know, the parts that are broken. They will die back probably, and then we can take it out at one point and maybe clean it off again and etc. But anyways, I'm just gonna put this here, not gonna pot it in the video. Instead, we are going to pot this. This is the pot that we're going to use. And I will use moss again, so I have some fresh moss here. There will be a bit of moss at the bottom, and then we will do bark and pumice. I'm gonna sort of kinda let the moss hang. And I'm going to mix bark and pumice here. And then put some bark in, put the plant in, some moss once again. And, you know, that's a lot of roots to fit into the pot, so we have to do a bit of the twisting here to make sure that sort of fits. And then once again, bark. It's a bit tricky, you know, that is a lot of roots to sort of fit in a lot of, probably there will be a lot of empty spaces, a lot of the air around the roots. So I'm just gonna try to adjust it a little bit. I am going to add slow release at this time. And then more bark. And I'm gonna finish it off with some moss on top, just like last time. All right, 100% crooked, but once again, such is life. So we sorted that one out, and then we have one more. The other one should be easier to handle because there is organic mix there. It's only moss on top. Those also look good. It does look very wet now. I am actually probably not gonna do much here. Just remove this moss from top, or at least it wasn't my plan to do much here. Seems we might. Because this is a good mix. There's a lot of good bark there. I don't know if there is some cocoa peat. I hope not. I do see some perlite. There is some pumice too. And here we are, doing something I said I wasn't gonna do. But it's easier with this one because it's not just moss. It's like mostly perlite and pumice and some bark. And this one actually I grew from a very tiny plant. I remember when I got it, it was so cute and small. And you know, I could have done such a better job than this. But I didn't. I did really neglect them at one point. I thought about giving them away, but then we changed our mind. And here we are. Okay, this one is actually going faster, so I might as well remove as much of the mix as I can because they will benefit. There is cocoa peat here, and that's because I think it arrived in cocoa peat, so I was a bit unsure about putting it in like a full barky mix, but I think we can handle that now. But I do think we are going to finish up with this one. I simply don't have more time this week for the plant chores. I do have editing to do, and I mean, there are other plant chores. I do need to plan out my I need to plan out my next month, see what I will do in May. I also need to I really need to get rid of my Hoyas. I keep moving them from my bed to the floor, the ones that I have ready for sale. So I just really need to handle that So I don't think there is much time for me this week. I might do a repot, of course, of those plants that I said, but I can't set up and record because it just takes so much more time. We're gonna pot this up and I'm gonna clean up for today. I'm definitely not gonna do any more repotting today, that's for sure, because it's almost 5 and I need to add a couple of things to my video that I'm posting today. So we did lose some of the roots there, nothing major, pretty decent root system. I'm going to pot it now, and that is that. Looks pretty good. The other one had bigger roots. They obviously grew more in moss. I think that's an appropriate height here. I'm gonna cut off this leaf because it's yellow already. So we don't need that. I think we can finish off with the moss. Okie dokie. He is so pretty. That leaf is so pretty. Shame this one came out like that. So that is all for today. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to let me know in the comments what are the chores that you did. And I will see you very soon with the next chores. I know that I did not put the steak in my monstera. I promise I will do it. I promise. You can stop reminding me now. I will do it. I look at it every day and I will do it for sure. It's coming tomorrow. Definitely. I just need to find a moment to go and buy the steak. That is all. See you next week and goodbye. I would like to take some time to thank all of my patrons for their incredible support. A massive shout out to my $5 patrons. My 3 anonymous patrons, Alex von Siebenthal, Amber Clear, Anne Margaret Moon, Angela Bernard, Angela Parrish, and C. Aspen Drake, Betsy, Bougie Panda, Brett Noble, Candy Tap, Catherine Molina, Christy Claire Cola, Daniela, Danube Daniel, Staria Kaminska, Dili Heredia, Diane Sikorsky, Dipanjali Rao, Edith W, Erin Keenan, Ellen Saxon, Ellen M. Mortal, Farah, Gathering Moss, Gina Geise, Go Green Tropical, Heather Uppencamp, Hoji Scott, Hoya Heather, Yana Griffin, Jessica Chia, Yavin Denot, Kara, Catherine P, Casey Gross, Kelly Cook, Kelly Gallagher, Kelso, Kimberly Polka, Kiwi Mochi, Christy Ehrlich, LePlan the Staff, Lisa Mary MPLS, Lori J. Revert, Mandy Milliken, Marcel Har, Maria Stein, Maria Yarmolich, Maria West, Maris B, Marty Miller, Mary Rose, Melissa Walker, Michael Curley, Michelle Heron, Nicole Ferranti, Mirka Grun Roos, Moa Edmond, Neil Yang, Niha Basu, Nicole Maroney, Nan Quinn, Nita Macy, PJ Plant Druid, Rachel Peterson, Robin L. Jennings, Sandra Cornelius, Sherry Kumar, Stephanie H2O, Tessa Martins, Tia B, TJWO, Trista Bailey, Tristan Thomas, Wendy Rossman, Xenia Greenwood, The Walmut, Zaira Rivera, and Zlatko Niponi. A big thank you to my $3 patrons: Angelina Farnan, Kilone Constance, Daryl De Rosario, Eden C, Catherine Parsons, Kens Brown, Hal Lindbergh, Lindsay Ann, Mary H, Nella, Syke Zera, Renee Church, Ringlob, Sophia Ryan, Tang Watanas Cool, and Wendy Foreman. And a thank you to my $1 patrons: one anonymous patron, Alice Borland, Brandon Pacheco, Christina Greengrass, Colleen Coyle, Levi, Couture Helvetica, Amelia Bronson, Jolie Sullivan, Jonas Berghort Larson, Kayla Vavra, Kelly Ash, Chris Perez, Lauren M, Lauren N, Subramanian, Luzmin Fernandez, Neely Spicer, Nerdy Kathy, Olivia Chin Muller, and Tracy the Eyeballer.